Okay, so on number 1, you'll notice you have an equation. See how there's an x in it? They want me to solve for x. Anytime I want to solve for x, I'm going to rewrite the problem. And I'm going to draw my line because I want to get x all by itself. So what is the first thing I'm going to do to start getting rid of things and get x by itself?
Subtract 6.
Subtract 6 from
6.
both sides, right? Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So these are going to cancel out and be 2x. This will equal 8. So now I have 2x equals 8. I still haven't gotten x by itself, so what do I do now?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. So these cancel out, and that equals 4. X equals 4. Is 4 a choice?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to circle it. Excellent. Feeling good. Okay, let's go to number 2. Stella has some pens in her school bag. If she doubled the number of pens in her school bag, she'd have 18 pens. So I see the word doubled here. So she has some sort of pens. I don't know how many. And if she doubled them, I would times by 2. And that would equal 18. What number times 2 would equal 18?
9.
9. I'm hearing it all over the place. Okay? This next one, I'm dividing fractions. When I divide fractions, I want you to think of that famous chicken restaurant.
What?
They have fried chicken.
Chick-fil-A.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
KFC.
KFC. Only when I'm dividing fractions, it's keep, change, flip. KCF. But whenever you think of dividing fractions, I want you to think of Kentucky Fried Chicken, so you'll remember to keep, change, flip. Okay? So I'm going to keep my first fraction. I'm going to change my sign to a multiplication. And I'm going to flip my second fraction. Keep, change, flip. And then I'm just going to simply solve it. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. And I have 24 over 24, which equals 1 whole. Okay, number 4. Joseph works at a gym. Each morning he brings out bags of basketballs for members to use. There is the same number of basketballs in each bag. The table shows the total number of basketballs depending on how many bags Joseph brings out. So you can see that if he brings out 0 bags, there's 0 balls. 2 bags, 6 balls. 4 bags, 12 balls. 6 bags, 18 balls. 7 bags, 21 balls. Okay? Which coordinate grid shows the number of basketballs in 1, 2, 3, and 4 bags? So I have to look at these and see which one maps it out for those 4 bags. Which one?
C.
C is the correct answer.
Oh,
C is the correct
answer.
answer. The others will not match up to 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's not D. You want to know what I did?
I said there's a lot of
Okay, number 5, I'm going to add decimals. Okay? What is the number one thing I have to know and do when I add decimals? Line them up. Okay, I have to do that. So I'm going to rewrite these decimals. And what does it look like? 368.903 plus 42.18. And I notice that once I have them written down, I have underneath my 3 nothing there. So I'm going to add a 0 just to keep my place value. Got my placeholder. And now I'm ready to start adding. And when I get to my decimal, what should I do with it? Drop it down into the answer. And when I get done, I end up with 411.083. Do I see that choice over here?
Yes.
Yes, I know I did it correct. When you're going along, if you don't see your answer choice, what does that tell you? Then you have something wrong. You need to come back over and see what did you do wrong. Common error alert. sometimes you wrote the problem down wrong to begin with. So whenever I make a mistake, I always look back. Did I write the problem down correctly? And if I didn't, then I know that that was my major error. If that is written down correctly, then I did a math error. Maybe I didn't carry, or I forgot to add what I carried. Okay, always go back through and check to see what you might have left out.
Sometimes I'm too overconfident with my math, and then I get the answer wrong.
Yeah, and that is a common error alert too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so good at this. I've done this so many times, and I just like whip through it, and then I make silly mistakes. So always go back through and be thorough, especially when you're taking a test. And it doesn't matter if it's the PEAKS test or a test in class. It does not matter. You should always go through each question twice, because that way it helps you to not make silly mistakes. The other thing are these are multiple choice. You should not just be guessing. You should be solving them. If your solving doesn't match it, then you know you need to fix it. The only time you should make a guess is if you absolutely have no idea how to solve it and you've done everything you possibly can. Okay? Okay, so now I have to find the value of 174 divided by 6. Okay? So when I see 174 over 6, I automatically think divide. Okay? Now, a common thing is people are like, I'm not sure which number to put inside the house. The number on the top always goes in the house. So write that down, and we're going to solve it. Okay? 174 divided by 6. Well, that goes in twice. I have 5 left over. And by the way, I do not believe they're going to give you a calculator on this one. Okay?
No, only on part 2.
There's a part 1 and a part 2. I would guess that a problem like this would be on part 1 where there's no calculator. Okay, number 7. Charlie is 8 years old. Dean's age is represented by the variable D. Select all the equations below that show the sum of Charlie's age and Dylan's age is 15. So that means that Charlie is 8 plus Dean, who's D, equals 15. So I always try to write down my equation to start out with. Here's something to keep in mind. It says select all of the equations. So that tells me there's going to be more than one answer. Is there an answer that's close to what I wrote down?
Yes.
It is C. Do you see that?
Yes.
I wrote 8 plus D, and they have D plus 8. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Now I'm going to go through that list, and I'm going to see if each of those would match up to this. So let's look at A. D minus 8 equals 15.
No.
Those are not going to be equal to each other, are they? So this one I'm going to X out. And on the tools, I can X that one out. 15 minus D. Would that one work?
Yes.
Yeah, notice 15, if I subtracted 15 minus Dean's age, I would get Charlie's age. So yes, that works. What about D? D plus 15 equals 8.
No.
I'm definitely not going to end up with Dean's age, am I? No, so I'm going to X that one out. 15 plus 8 equals D.
No.
No, that's not going to get me the correct answer either. And what about F?
Yes.
Yes, that one is very similar to B. We're just doing the reverse there. Okay, let's go to number 8. What is the greatest common factor? Next to factor, I want you to write the word final. See how they both have an F in them? When you see the word factor, I want you to think of final, because there's a final amount of factors. Remember, multiples are the ones that go on for infinity? Okay? So factors go 1, 24, and I'm going to list all the factors in between. 1 to 40, and I'm going to list all the factors in between. Do you remember that? So I say 1 times 24 is 24. 2 times 12. 3 times 4 times. What about 5? No, 6, and I'm back to 6, so I know I'm done. And now I know I'm completely done. There was a final number of factors, so I can stop. Okay, so then I'm going to do 2 times what number is 40? 20. 3. 3 can't even go in. 4. 4 times 10. 5. 5 times 8. 6. 7. Okay, so I'm done. I've now found the final number of factors. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to find the greatest one they have in common. So I'm going to start at the largest side and go along until I see ones they have in common. And there I found 8. So the GCF equals 8. Yes? I could also do the trees where I did my prime factorization. Yes, I chose this method, but that one would work as well. Okay, number 9. The ratio of cats to dogs in an animal shelter is 5 to 7. How many dogs are in the shelter if there are 15 cats? I want you to underline this information. Cats to dogs. That is important when we're talking about ratios because that tells me the order that they're going to come in. So I know that cat's number will come first, dog number will come second. So when I write down my ratio, 5, what am I going to write behind 5? 5 cats to 7 dogs. And notice I kept it in the same order that they told me. Cats to dogs, cats to dogs. Okay, and I know that down here I'm going to have the same order. Cats to dogs. And I can just fill in my numbers. How many dogs are in the shelter if there are 15 cats? So where am I going to write my 15? I'm going to write it with the cats. Now I could do my cross multiplication, but I could also think 5 times what number is 15?
3.
Times 3. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. How many dogs? 21 dogs. Okay, notice with ratios, the order matters. Because it said how many dogs? How many dogs? Okay, let's go to number 10. It says the net shown represents a triangular prism. And a net is when you take a three-dimensional shape, like let's say this was all put together. I would unglue the sides and unfold it, just like I would if it was like a Kleenex box. I would unglue the ends, and then if I laid it out flat, this is what it would be like the net. Okay? So a Kleenex box is going to be a rectangular prism, because on the ends, they're rectangles. This one is a triangular prism because on the ends, they are triangles. Okay? So what I have to do is I have to figure out the surface area. So when I fold out my net, I label each of the shapes. After I label all the shapes, I'm going to find the area, and then when I'm all done, I'll add all of them together. Okay? So this rectangle, I'm going to label A. Label yours A. This one's going to be B. This one's going to be C, D, and E. And whenever you have to find surface area, take each shape and label it with a different letter. That way it helps you to organize your information. So I'm going to start over here with A, and I'm going to find the area of that A rectangle. What's the formula for area of a rectangle? Length times width. What is the length? 16 times 5. What is 16 times 5?
Something.
It is 80.
80. Check their answer. Do I have a second person checking it? Is that correct? Okay. All right, let's go on to B. Area of a rectangle. Length times width. What is the length? 16 times width. 8 is my width. What is 16 times 8?
It is 128. Yeah.
128. You checked him?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you notice anything about C?
It's the same as A.
It's the same as A, so I'm going to write down A again. Okay, let's write down D. What do you notice about D and E?
They're the same.
They're the same. So once I get D done, I know that E is